Good evening and welcome to our Wednesday night Facebook Lives. I don't know about you, but it's raining here. So we seem to have lost spring. We had it for a day or two. Well, actually, I had a nice week last week and the weekend was nice, but definitely made a turn for the worse, which means the best thing to be doing is crafting. This evening, if you hear rustling, it is not me. I do have company down by my feet. I don't know why, but this evening, Marvin has decided to join me. I don't think he'll jump up and make an appearance, but we'll see. He's falling asleep down beside me. I don't know whether it's the noise or he's just tired, but he's down by my feet. So, good evening hello Maria, hello Margaret, hello Maureen. A little bit of alliteration there, lots of M's. So we've got quite a bit to get through tonight, but we have been sorting out the factory. We have been finding all sorts, and there are three things that I thought, I'll share on Facebook. So I've already put a post up so you can see. Maria says, hi, Marvin. He hasn't got his octopus with him. So if you have seen the post already, apologies, but let's go to this camera because you probably see better. So the first thing we got, is set of two of these drawers. Okay, they are sort of A6-ish size in the actual drawer, but a decent height. And they're sort of that nice cardboardy coated stuff. They are £10 for a set of two, and that includes your postage. Okay, so but we haven't got many of them. Just throwing everything about, apologies. The next one, these are adorable. Box of three, again £10 including your postage. It's these little pad folios. They've got a little clip on the front there. They come with a little pad, but they have these little pockets there, and the pads are just sliding into that. So obviously easy for you to refill and make your own. They're A6 in size as well, and you get three of those for £10. Okay, these are not on the website. These are a message in Facebook only. And then the last one, bit of fun. 3 microphone pencil cases, £5 including postage. I won't tell you I will tell you the price. The paper chase price was £10 each. And I think that's a bit excessive, but if for little ones or for you, alternative to Easter eggs, fill them with something fun. Yes, you can have a set of each. So just message. Microphone pencil cases, fear not, we have plenty of those. The other things, we do have limited numbers, but these we've got plenty of. These will probably make an appearance on the TV. Doubt they'll be the price that I'm doing them tonight. I did say to Paul, why can't you make a stand for the pencil case to go in, like a microphone stand? Because I just think it'd be amusing if we all started singing away. Right, back to me for a minute while I just get sorted. Okay, so that was a quick heads up on those. There is a post on Facebook about those as well. Because I've got company, I've got to be careful. Normally I'd throw things on the floor, but I can't because I've got company. Right, so what are we going to do this evening other than play with that? Let me come to this camera. On the table here is loads of bits that we've done in previous Facebook Lives. So the lace paper we made, some of the former foam bits that we did last week, the mask things we did. And we had fun doing them, and they're also a really nice little reference point. So what I thought I'd do is I would make a couple of little journals to show you and show you how to make the journals, but then I would start putting some of these pieces in so that I've got a reference point. So if ever my mojo has left me, I can just flick through and it will remind me. So all these bits, so I do save them. Some get mat and layered up into proper cards and they're up on the wall downstairs. But let's make a book first. I'm not going to put it on the laptop. Put it over there. Right. I'm going to do two different one-page wonder books. One, strictly speaking, is 3 pages. or 4 pages or 5 pages, but the fold is just from 1 page. I'm going to start with one of my favourites, which is called a maze book. Okay, so I've got a 12 by 12 piece of paper here. It doesn't have to be 12 by 12. It can be any size square. Okay, and the nice thing with that is this is easy to scale up and scale down. Okay, so I'm just folding. So I folded it in half and then I'm folding into the middle. And it doesn't hurt to fold backwards and forwards on your own line so that you're getting some nice creases going there. Okay, you could use a bone folder. Okay, and then I'm going to flick over and I'm going to do the same thing on that side. Okay, so I'm going to be dividing this up into squares. Okay. So I've now got a 4 by 4 grid, so to speak. Okay, just make sure everything's folding nicely. You can see it sort of flopping about. Don't forget your label. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I'll cover it up so it doesn't matter. I'm always terrible at tearing, because I used to worry about no, I'm going to cover it up. Because I always used to end up damaging my basil. Right, why did I use white? So we're going to do some cutting now, and we're going to cut. Now, if we're going to cut, I'm not going to draw on it because I do want to actually make this up into a book. But if you think we've got 4 columns there, but we've actually only got 3 lines, okay? So this first one, I'm going to cut along up to the point of the last square. So I'm cutting along the edge of 3 squares. I'm then going to turn it 180 degrees, and I'm going to do the same on the middle column. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees and do the same on the last line up to the point. Okay, so what you end up with is something that's stretchy. And then all we're going to do is we're going to concertina fold up. When we get to the end there, we're going to flop it over and concertina fold going down again. And this is why it's good to double fold your folds. Also, if like there you think, hang on, that's not folding well, just make sure you've gone right into the corner there. Okay, because otherwise it will throw your book right off. Okay, round the corner. I love making these, and I've made them. I've started with 12 by 12 and then I've done an 11 by 11, 10 by 10, 9 by 9, 8 by 8, right down to 6 by 6, and then you get continuously smaller books that stack really nicely. So you've now got this spring. If you want it to just flick through like a book, everywhere that you've turned the corner, you're going to want to apply some glue. So here's easy to see because it's facing up that way. Okay, so I'm just going to open that up there, and that's the bit you glue. Okay, so we're going to glue it shut there. Okay, so it's going to make a sticky out bit within our book. Okay, why did I do that? Got some under there. Right, so I've got 2 other points that I turn the corner. One is where that label is. In fact, if I flick it over like that, we can see even easier. So here, it's another place I want to glue it. You don't have to glue it, I just like the fact it'll open like a book now. Okay, and then just, we can see one other place where it turns the corner. Apply a little bit of glue. It's easier doing these with a single-sided, you know, like a plain piece of paper to begin with, and then you can start messing about with double-sided papers and things. It's just otherwise you get muddled up as to which side you really want to look at it, because on this side here, in fact, if I go to that camera, so you can see on that side, it's just like a normal concertina accordion book. When I flick it round to this side, we have got these little extra bits sticking out there. So again, if you were using a double-sided paper, you might find that that's the side you actually want to work on, but you're not so fussed about these sticky out bits. I like it because we can cover every side and it folds up nice and flat. Okay, so that's going to be one book that we're going to work with, because it gives me nice little sizes. If we look at some of the papers that we're going to be playing with, you know, that's a nice size to be able to cut up. Okay, the next one, again, starting with squares. And I'm going to do 3 squares for this one. And I have cut it down to 6 by 6 just because it was making a really big book if I left them as 12 by 12. Okay, and you're going to treat every one exactly the same. So you're going to fold in half, turn it 90 degrees, fold in half, and then fold to one corner. Okay. And then fold that one back on itself again so that you're getting a nice crisp fold. And then you're going to push in on those and you've got a little square. Okay, going to do exactly the same. Now you'll notice I'm working with double-sided paper on this one, and I'm going to treat all the papers exactly the same. So I started with the pale blue side and then folding the flowers in. Okay, it's easier that way, I don't have to worry about anything. Fold that one back on itself, and then so have it up like that, and then you push in and create another. Reminds me of those frogs we used to make. And then last one, going to treat it exactly the same, like so. Fold to the corner, and poke. See the difference it makes when you don't fold it back on itself. Right, so we've got our 3 components now that are going to be a book. But what we're going to do is we're going to take them and turn one upside down so it's going to fit into that square. Can you see that? And then that one fits in to that square. Okay, so open it up a little bit, apply glue to one of the squares, and then bring the next one in so it sort of slots in like that. Give it a good old press down. Okay, and by using this glue, if I've wiggled, I've got time to, which is when you're reaching so that you're making sure that people can see. It's always a little bit trickier because your eyes aren't seeing quite as straight as you'd want them to. And then turn it over, do the glue on that one, bring that in like that, fold him in, fold that down, and now we've got like an exploding one. I call these caterpillar books because they can keep getting longer and longer. Okay, so that's quite a nice little one as well. This is nice for decorating because we're not just getting square pages, we have also got triangular ones. So what we're going to, but both books are the same size now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making some little panels to go in, and then we can decide which book they go into. So Right, so let's just grab some papers. So let's have some texture. Oh, these would be nice actually on the front cover, wouldn't they? Yeah. Okay. Do I go hideous and pull my trimmer out? No. So I want to make some little panels. So I'm going to give myself a bit of a template to work to. And because these are just sort of demo pieces, I can just be, if I have to trim it down, it's not, I'm not wasting any. I'm going to keep all the little, what's up, mate? You fidgeting? He's fidgeting. Well, that wasn't very straight, was it? Let's straighten it up now. Okay, so I've got that trimmed down. So one little panel. It looks quite nice just like that. That might be the cover. Might make that the cover. Okay, I'm just going to get a few panels to work with first. So I've done one of them. Let's do one of these now. And again, I'm going to cut right into the middle here. That was a bit easier, trimming it down. You coming up? You're just looking at me weird, Marv. Do you want to come and say hello to your public? Oh, I like the fact I got a bit of a distress edge there. Now this is the one, do you remember the lace paper that we made with the cornflowery glue? So I could actually have torn that, but I do think that gives a nice leathery look. But I think the white behind it is a little bit boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit off that side and a bit off that side and come in with some black to mat that onto. And then we'll start adding some extra bits in a minute. But as I'm going through, I'll also try and remember to remind you what all the techniques were that are on the pieces. So this was the lace paper where we used the paste of corn flour. And the one before that was the wet tissue through the Grand Caliber on top of a mask to make like a handmade paper. So I think just having that little bit of black there really makes the distressing look better. Okay. So that's going to go there. So that's another panel. But you see, they also fit onto this one. In fact, that looks quite nice on that. Right, okay, let's just get some panels quickly cut up. Oh, you're going to have to be subjected to it. I apologise in advance. It's not pretty. So these are 3 inches. So if I make some quick 2-inch square, 2.5-inch squares. Look at the state of that Rototrim. Rototrim will be phoning and going, can we have our trimmer back? Look at that, you've abused it. So that's a nice little one. I'm going to go flush to there. So I just want about, if I get about 10 done, that'll give us plenty to play with. What was that? That wasn't quite wide enough. So 2 1/4, no, 2 1/8. I'm going to make, no, right, grab some more. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Right, so this was a ghosting technique where we inked the card first, then laid a stencil on top, spritzed it with some water to lift the colour away. This was a distress embossing where we put the stencil down, inked through with a embossing pad, and then added embossing powder, reapplied the stencil, and then added a different colour of embossing powder. This was just very simply embossed and inked. So this is the idea of this journal, is going to be like my little reference point. Okay, this one was embossed and then sprayed because it's got a little bit of a mica to it. So quite subtle, that one. I'm going to take that edge off. Actually, that would go, that's gonna work nicely with that one, isn't it? So I'm gonna, right, so this was resist technique, where what did we do on this one? We embossed, inked it, embossed it, then sprayed it with water and took away the colour. You can go back to the Facebook Lives and check that I have got all these right. This was Forma Foam from last week. We do still have some Forma Foam on the website. If you want the grab bag, it's still up there. It'll be up there for another week and then that will disappear. Okay. Oh, hang on. This is a lot quicker than scissors. And I'm getting this lovely pile at the side here. And this one, get off. No, actually I'm going to take that one. This was that fabulous stamp I made using the wiggle mesh and the trodden on cake case. I loved that stamp we made last week. Okay. And so how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I quite fancy a bit of that one because I like the edge there. So that gives us 10. Will we get 10 done in that time? Yeah, what we got? Oh yeah, loads of time. Right. Yeah, let me just quickly do some squares of black in case I need them. It's going to be handy. So I made most of them 2.5. So if I do some quick black squares at 3 inches, I've got some, no, 3 inches is going to be a bit too snug. I'm going to go 2 3/4. Again, I'm not worrying about these bits. It might look like I'm being wasteful here, but you know me, I'm not going to be wasting those bits. So little black edges like that are really handy. So that's given me 3. I'm going to get another couple. Some I might just ink the edges. Okay. So 2 3/4. Oh, this is so much quicker than scissors. Or, as I had to do the other day because my trimmer was here, a knife and a ruler. And I suddenly remembered how much I love my trimmer. Okay. Get away with that. Right. Pop that under there. And I'm going to keep a couple of these offcuts at the top here. You'll see why in a minute. I think that'll do. Oh, you're pretty. Right, that'll do. Into the magic box underneath. Move that there. Right. Okay, let's have a little play. So I've got one book to there, one book to there. Let's start with our squares. Right, so this one, I quite like it just as it is, but I do think we want to add a little bit of a word. So I've just got some little word stamps here. And I've also got our little funky borders. And I think that little funky border is going to go in there a treat. So I'm going to come in just to give it a little bit of a pop. I'm going to come in with a pigment ink so that I can do that. And then I have got some embossing powder at the side here. I mean, that's lovely. That's got little vines on it. Okay. Generous amount of embossing powder. That was a gentle puff. I've only got my non-directional heat gun today. Just might take a tiny bit longer. Okay. The trouble with a non-directional one is knowing where to hold it so you don't scorch your fingers. Right, okay. And then I've got this little dinky stamp there that's going to go in the middle. Now, I think if I go with my purple VersaFine, that's going to match. So Grow with Love. Okay, very simple. And that definitely needs to go onto a piece of black. Okay. So that's one page done. Let's just do one book because we should get quite a bit into this. I'm not going to do the front cover yet. Okay, let's get him stuck in. Just remembered this glue on this black sometimes takes a minute to grab. If I have to crack open a different glue, I will do. Okay, so that's going to go in like that. Right, next page. Right. Oh, that's funky. I think that needs something. What have we got? I didn't bring a massive amount of stuff up, but I'll have something under here. Do we want... Yeah, let's have a little bit of sheet music. We're going to keep these fairly simple because I want the textures there, the things we made to sing, to be the highlight, hero, main attraction. Can't think of any other words. Now, do I want to have it so it's showing through like I did with the last one? Yeah, we'll do that on this one. And we're not going to go and emboss it this time. Let's just... Oh, we've got green. That'll be funky. Okay, bit of green. And we'll have Hope on this one. But this I'm going to do in black. I'm not going to emboss it just for speed. But the reason I'm putting that on black is because when I mat this onto black, that's going to draw the attention to the word. See, so the words, by having the black, see how it draws the eye to the word. Now this is one of the ones that's slightly smaller, so yes, Maria, there is a Perfect Paper Crafts, is all this sort of thing, and also the online Delightful Stamping will have all this sort of thing on, will cover this sort of thing as well. So both of those, if you check out the class section on the website, you'll find all sorts of things like that. Yeah, any of the paper crafty ones are much more like this than the mixed media ones. Okay, so 2 pages. Right, next one. Did I? Yeah. Right, fold that up. I'm going to have to get my little... Where's my little iron? There it is. Donk. Right. Let's go with this one. I think that wants a little bit of sheet music. And do we try and be clever with it? I just think that sort of aged look. So we know we want this onto black. And I think we just want, there's a nice No, number 12, I quite like that. So I'm not going to do a border this time. I'm just going to tear out the little number 12. Again, using my thumbs to guide my tearing. And I do think I want to ink the edge of that very slightly. Okay. So the little irons. My mum used to collect flat irons and she had like loads. She had the big massive ones. She had ones for doing bowler hats. But I couldn't take them all. I don't have that sort of space. But I did take all the little ones because I do use them for stuff like this. And we do have a few that stay at work for occasionally in workshops if we need to weigh things down. The little irons do come out. I count them back in as well, by the way, in case you're thinking. Yeah, I think this is a number 2, this iron. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. I do want a word on there as well, but I think I'm going to stamp it straight onto it. Let's have love. I just think, I like this, Patterns of Life. I just think, because this is such a lovely antique-y one, I can't see that any of these borders, oh no, that might, hang on, that's quite subtle. Yeah, I might do that one, but what I'm going to do is stamp it on that fit. Oh, just. So let's go with a bit of walnut stain, distressing, so it's not too harsh. Hello, Mr. Humphreys. How are you today? Right, so I'm just going to stamp that like that. Okay, and see if that'll fit. All perfectly. And then very carefully, again, I'm going to tear. So I am going to get hints of the edge of the music there, but not too much to be overpowering, but just enough to let you know. Now this is very close to the edge. So just, if you can't tear it, these scissors are a bit excessive for this. Holding it tight between your fingers and your thumb, just take your scissors or a knife, a butter knife, not a sharp knife, and just run it along the edge there, just to start breaking up the fibres a bit and giving it that illusion that it's been torn without having to actually tear as close to that. Okay, so we're going to add that to there, and I'm going to ink that edge again, just so you can see there where I've inked it, that really is showing up that distressing I did. Okay, right, okay, stick that onto there. So nearly couldn't find the book because it's under the iron. So next page. And so what I'm getting here is this lovely little book of not huge things, but just little things that will remind me, you know, of techniques. You could write on the back of these. You could have the bit on the back there where you say what these techniques are, or you just have them as inspiration. So let's go with this one. And I thought it would be nice to do the greeting on the border on the opposite here, and then we'll do other way round on the next one. Harder to do that because it's going to be textured, but what border haven't we used yet? Have we got one with swirly whirlies? That's the swirly whirly ones. Yeah, mushrooms, and yeah, you can't go wrong with flowers and mushrooms. Can't see it really now, but there was a dragonfly on there, and my dad used to paint up the flat irons as well. But yes, there was a dragonfly on the bottom there, but now because it gets used so much. Okay, so I'm doing a little bit of Faded Jeans because I thought the blue. And then, but again, I want this word to really pop. Where's my other? The idea was the small acrylic block was going to have the borders on and the words were going to be on a different one, and I just keep skipping between them all because I can. So we're just going to have a love in there. And then we're going to cut this one quite close. Okay, and I think this one, I'll have a look in a minute. Now I could try and line that up, kind of like that. Don't smudge it, now you've done it. So I'm not worried about the circles lining up so much, but if the lines line up, it gives you the illusion that that's the same. And I was thinking no, it's not popping enough, but if I do that, that gives me a little bit of a border to pop. And also covers up the pesky label that I didn't want to tear off. Okay. I know I should be doing the glue on the other side, but I so don't want to smudge that. So another page. And just, you know, by making little pieces, it's not so daunting. It's not as time consuming, and we're just having fun. And they're keeping to a very simple theme of a nice background, a word in one form or another, with a border, without a border. You know, it's just, now this one, no, let's go, I will do that one, but I'm just thinking, what do I want as the background for the word? I think white might be too stark, maybe. Or do we go brown paper? Have I got any brown paper? I've got baking parchment. Got a piece of cardboard. That'll do. That'll definitely do. In fact, let's... Do I want black first? Oh, decisions, decisions, decisions. See, even when it's this small, you still have 350 million decisions to make. I do like that, but I don't know if I like it for that square. I might like it for that square. So, puzzle piece is going to one side for a minute. I just want to trim this down a little bit. Okay. And I want to just make sure that is going to fit in the book. Oh yes, that's going to fit. Right. Want to just ink the edges very slightly. And on the cardboard. Okay, just... So a bit of ink on, a bit of glue on the back of that. My glue is obviously nearly empty, so it's very top heavy. So it just did a little somersault across the desk. Right, so we still need to have something with a word. So see, that line across the middle there is actually bothering me a little bit. It's spoiling the aesthetics. That sounds glamorous, doesn't it? If I do that, it hides it. Even though it's a line still and breaking it up into two, it's not as stark as that. So let's add the word love to that. Bit of glue on the back. Where's my glue page? Right. I think that's really sweet. Okay, next page. Will we? Good gracious me, I've just looked at the time. Have I really been 40 minutes? I do apologise. I thought I was only about... Okay. And you know what I've forgotten to do? I've forgotten to tell you what all these techniques were as well. I'll do it right at the end. Okay. So already I just love it. Little tiny books like this are so good. Right. Were we going to put that one on the front cover? It does look pretty on the front. Let's do that as the front cover. You can make a wraparound cover for these if you want to, but they don't necessarily need it. And how do we want this word to go? Do we just put a very simple little... I've got to be careful with when you're stamping onto this paper, because sometimes it can pull the ink. So your best bet before you stamp onto your main thing is try on this offcut, and to see whether you're going to get a crisp image. That's Distress ink, and I was worried that it was going to bleed a little bit. So I think I will go with the Distress ink, and I'm going to go with there. I think it's also, make sure it's not too wet on the ink as well, because that's where you're likely... Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that. Now, what's nice with this particular mask that we've made the paper out of here, if you put little gems in the middle there, it actually makes it look like flowers, and it really draws the eye into. No, he hasn't painted the phone box yet. We have been busy trying to get palette racking in and all sorts. I ache a lot. Right, so next page. Oh, let's give it a little way down. Bloop. Okay, let's see. That's a very basic one. But one of these was leaves, wasn't it, that one? So no, we're going to go straight on to the top of it. I'm going to go with Distress ink again, because I don't want it to be too harsh. Okay. So it's a little bit more subtle. And where's the words? Right, even when I work small, I mean, I know I do a lot of small stuff, but how do I manage to lose stuff? Okay, and I'm going to stick with the same Distress ink, which is good old Walnut Stain. So these could be words torn out of things as well. Okay, now at the moment that's not overly powerful, but I'm just having a think. I want to make that pop, so I need to have a border of that colour, but actually I want to have a little bit of texture. So what I'm doing is I've taken one of the squares of offcuts from one of the other designs of paper. Yeah, this is exactly what it is. It's a sample book. I sometimes cut all my bits up into squares and stick them on a storage box so that I've got inspiration. And also, when you start putting things together like this, it does spark the imagination a bit. So by having that as Walnut Stain, see how it, just by having that hint of Walnut Stain there, it's just pulling that forward a little bit. I am going to hook that off. See, very different, that one, but it's really emphasising that lovely leaf texture. Okay, next page. Yeah, it is like a sampler, really. And you could do it into a frame. You could do little squares like this and make it into a frame or into a canvas. But a little book is handy. You can just sit and flick through it and say write notes on the back of it to say what each technique is. But I wanted to show you these little books and how easy they are. And I looked where I photograph what I've done for, you know, to put onto Facebook so that you can see what we did in the live. I thought, I've got such a pile of bits. Let's make something with them. Okay. So, oh, look, I missed a page. Oh, no, I've got to go do two, as I can't. Right, so let's do him. Going to take that white edge off. Or do I? Or do I do something with that white edge like I did on the other one that had white? That's quite nice. Told you I don't waste any scraps. So, bit of glue. Okay, so it's hiding that fact that it wasn't. Oh, just noticed there was one on the other side as well. Oh, decisions. But I will stick with the one I chose first. Okay. That's quite pretty, isn't it? It's quite pretty and dainty. Have I got any more of that colour? What have I got in here that I could... Oh, I've just remembered something that's in here. Bear with me a minute while I just rummage in here. More black card. White in case I needed it. Don't think I need that one. There's that one. How did that get missed? And that. How did that one get missed of being in this book? There's all sorts in there. I think that's too busy for the back there. Yeah. So we will just stick very simply to a bit of black for that one. So it needs a black word, and we'll have hope on that one. Yes, that's a good idea. So Rura Jane said I'd use one page, I'd use one illustration and use the other page as the recipe instructions. I love the fact you've called it recipe because that's exactly how I would describe it. Yeah, that would be a really nice idea. Depends, again, it depends who you're using it for. So if this was, you know, just something pretty to look at, then fill it with each page being pretty. But if it's going to be something that is going to be your reference point, your mojo journal, then yes, have the instructions, because there is nothing worse than finding something that you really like and you want to do again and you can't for the life of you remember how you did it. Years of demonstrating, I can reverse engineer quite a few things, but every so often you'll come across something and you're like, do you know what, I haven't got the foggiest idea how I did that. So yes, the instructions, or if you didn't want it visible, you could have it that you have this only attached down 3 sides and a little tag go in the top there with the instructions in, but then there's always the danger you're going to lose the instructions. Again, something we possibly have all done. Right, I love that one. So let's have a bit of him. Still want to do that one, and I want to do that one. So this one, because I must remember to tell you how we did them all. So this was the one where we applied a little bit of ink to the Stir It Up stencil mask, embossed it through the machine so it lifted a little bit off, and we started with a very pale colour, and then we gradually, as we inked it, we made the colours more and more intense. And then by the time we got to the end, the card was nice and moist, so we then took our blusher brush, ducked it into mica and brushed it on to give it that nice sort of metallic-y look. And I am going to keep this one very simple because it's so glamorous. So I'm going to glue it onto there, and we are just going to very simply take that, too big. No, that'll do. Gonna cut that. Where's the word love gone? Okay, where's it gone? I had it like literally 3 seconds ago. Because Hope's not going to fit. We might have to improvise and use the love off there. And just, no, I'm going to cut that again because I'm going to just cut it a little bit wider, cut it off at an angle there. It's all right, that was a bit too small for me to aim for. So love like that. And then a very tiny, remember I said I don't waste these little offcuts. So very small bit of black to go underneath it. Like so. Trim that down and glue it all together. Again, because the ink might still be a little bit wet, I'm going to just be careful. See, at home you don't have to rush like this. Okay. So, what's the saying? More haste, less speed? No. More speed, less haste. Whatever it is. Never really overly made sense to me as a kid. Along with the stop crying or I'll give you something to cry for one. Never understood that one either. Okay, so I'm just going to close that up for a second. Back under its little iron. Have we got time to do 2 more? Yes. Right. Let's do this one. Because this was the double-sided adhesive onto acetate, dusted with Gildoon flakes that were then worked in with mica as well. Okay. Sorry, Marvin, am I in your way? As he falls asleep behind me. I'm hoping just a hint of that going to come through. Right, so do I want it on the black or do I want it on the music? Or do I want it on both? Do you know what I'm going to choose? Both. So I'm going to trim off. Probably trimmed off a bit too much, but it's fine. Take a slither off there, square it up. Right, so I'm going to, might not overly show up. It does a little bit. It probably shows up more to me than it does to you. Sorry, very Chuckle Brothers. From me to you. So trim off the excess. But I haven't got a StazOn in here. Because if I wanted to stamp onto this, obviously I would need my StazOn. But I haven't got my StazOn. So let's do a similar idea to what we just did. But with the sheet music. And we'll have it layered over. Okay. So, quick question. How much longer will we be able to access the video from the online junk journal workshop? Right. On Facebook, I think we've only probably got another couple of weeks before it will disappear. I have downloaded them and I am investigating getting them uploaded onto YouTube in somewhere where it will be private for those people that subscribed. So leave it with me, but keep watching it while you can on there. But once it disappears off Facebook, I will make sure that we can have it elsewhere. Okay, because yeah, the whole point was I didn't want you to, you know, lose that workshop. So yeah, leave it with me. It's all right. The trouble is, sometimes it just seems to take an age for things to get up onto YouTube. It hovers, and you'll be watching it and it'll go 35 minutes. And then you look and it'll go 1 hour 15. And it's like, hang on, you said 35 minutes a minute ago, and now it's gone up. Right. So, oh, good. How I've managed to get that stamp in such a state in that short space of time, I don't know. Right, this is the last one, and then I'll do a quick recap because I've just looked at the time. Sorry, I'm having a wonderful time tonight because I'm just playing with little bits and pieces. But it is good for the soul. I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but hang on. Things like this where there's no agenda, you're just enjoying the crafting, is just lovely. Now obviously that is double-sided on acetate, so it's a little bit trickier to glue, but I kind of like that. Right, last one in, and then not much more to fill this, so maybe over the week I'll add in the last few pages and show you it. Right, so let's give it a quick iron. Put the lid on the glue. Right, shall we go to, let's go to the side camera and let's have a little look at our book and just scoot that to one side. So we started off on the front there with our handmade paper, and then we go inside to our first one, which was one of our former foam pages for pieces from last week. And this one here, another former foam. So check out last week's live, and don't forget all the lives are up on YouTube as well, so you can watch them back as many times. This was our light lace paper. Then playing with two of the masks, a ghosted one and an embossed one, and then making them line up so it looks like they're all one. Another of our former foams, the patina effect there, former foam and using a little scrap of the handmade paper. Former foam and embossed mask paper, and then our last one are gilding flake and mica on acetate, and that would be, that's 3 weeks ago since we did the gilding flakes. So check out all those techniques and see, and then maybe make your own little book, your little mojo journal, so that you can remember all these things you do, or just enjoy having a little craft. They're tiny pages, they're 3 inches square, so just make little tiny things just for the joy of making them, and it doesn't even take up that much space. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Why don't you like YouTube? Does it not look? Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit temperamental, but while Facebook are doing this 30-day thing, I just don't want us to lose all these things that we've done, because they are a good reference point back. So yeah, so try that. I'll keep them up on Facebook until Facebook delete them, but yeah, so enjoy, have a go at doing those little books. They are really easy, and say just always work with square pieces of paper and you'll get, but you imagine that done with a 6x6, you get these really, really dinky little 1.5 inch. So anybody who's into their inches and things like that, a really nice way of displaying them. So nothing really exciting happening. Got a bookbinding workshop this weekend, which is fully booked. Next weekend is the Sunday, is the bookbinding workshop. We have another online workshop, which is all things stamping and stuff like that, in April. So check that out on the website. And don't worry about not being able to comment on the lives, because on YouTube, I don't see the comments as quickly as I do on Facebook. So what I suggest is watch on YouTube, watch them back on YouTube, and then hop over onto Facebook and just message me and ask questions. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you same time, same place next week, where we will start making some new stuff so that we can start filling our journal with new things. In the meantime, have a good week and see you soon.